The Hinterkaifeck murders, also known as Gruber family murders. The case of the Gruber family murders in 1922 remains one of the strangest unsolved mysteries ever. It all took place approximately 60 miles north of Munich, Germany, on Hinterkaifeck Ranch, where the Gruber family's farm was located. Before the family of 5, as well as their housemaid, brutally killed, patriarch Andreas Gruber reportedly told neighbors about footprints spotted in the snow coming from the nearby woods to the farmhouse's back door, but the footprints allegedly never went back to the woods. He also spoke of odd creaks and curious footfalls in the attic. He even noted that a newspaper the family had never seen before it showed up in the kitchen, and someone apparently tried to bust open the lock on the family's tool shed. Even with all of those oddities, the region was shocked when the family and their housemaid were brutally murdered at home on the night of Friday, March 31, 1922. According to reports, police determined that Andreas, his wife Kazilia, his daughter Victoria, and his granddaughter Kazilia were killed in the farm's livestock barn. After that, they believed that his grandson Joseph was murdered while he slept. They believed that the killer then went to the bedroom of the housemaid, Maria Baumgartner, and killed her as well. All were bludgeoned in the head, and the autopsy reports that researchers have unearthed suggest that the elder Kazilia and her daughter Victoria showed signs of strangulation as well. Disturbingly, investigators know that the younger Kazilia was the last to die, and may have survived the initial attack. She was found with clumps of her own hair in her clenched fingers. As if this weren't enough, the killer reportedly did not immediately leave. Police initially suspected that the motive for the brutal murders might have been robbery, but that was dismissed as money was found still in the house. In addition, instead of ransacking the farm or killing the animals, neighbors told police that they saw smoke coming from the chimney in the house for a few days afterwards, and they could tell that someone had been feeding the Grubers cattle. In Germany, the case of the Hinterkaifeck murders has become legendary, and is the subject of several books and movies. The farm itself is long gone, having been demolished in 1923 by villagers unhappy with having such a monument to death and horror still standing in the vicinity. All that stands there now is a monument and the memories and ghosts of those events pervading the quiet trees amongst which a truly terrible crime unfolded all those years ago. It seems that it is a very real possibility that those trees will remain the only ones to know what really transpired here. The Black Mausoleum. Located in Greyfriars Kirkyard, a cemetery located in Edinburgh, Scotland, the Black Mausoleum is the resting place of Sir George Mackenzie. He was Lord Advocate for Charles II, responsible for persecuting the Covenanters, a group of Presbyterians. Since he was the reason for hundreds of deaths while they were imprisoned, Mackenzie earned the name Bloody Mackenzie. Upon his death in 1691, he was buried in Greyfriars Kirkyard, and nothing notable happened for centuries. However, beginning in 1999, sightings of a poltergeist, as well as a number of cold spots and visible burns and bruises, have been claimed by visitors to the graveyard. Nearly 450 witnesses have come forward, with over 100 having apparently fainted while on the grounds. Richard Felix, of the British paranormal documentary show Most Haunted, has called it one of the most convincing supernatural cases of all time. Mackenzie's grave was eventually sealed up, but the attacks kept happening. To date, no explanation has been proven, with psychosomatic and hysterical reactions cited as the most likely culprit. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse Mystery. The Flannan Isles are a small island group off the coast of Scotland, located right in the path of a major shipping route. The lighthouse was kept up and running by a 3-man crew, which in December 1900 consisted of Thomas Marshall, James Duckett, and Donald MacArthur, who were supposed to only spend 14 days there. A few days into their job, a major storm hit the island. After the weather had cleared, passing boats started to notice that the light was out in the lighthouse and it hadn't been fixed for some days. A team soon arrived at the locked lighthouse, finding it occupied by unmade beds and an untouched meal on the table, with the keepers nowhere to be seen. The captain of the rescue ship quickly wrote the case off as all 3 men being caught outside in the aforementioned storm and drowning. However, this was immediately proven wrong by one keeper's rain jacket being left behind in the lighthouse, and the logbook showing entries made well after the weather had cleared. The current theory is that the missing men were swept away by a freak wave, but even that hinges on the idea that 3 experienced lighthouse keepers completely ignored regulations stating that a lighthouse must never, ever be left unmanned. There is no way that Marshall, Duckett, and MacArthur would have left the lighthouse together for any reason. Plus, why would they lock the lighthouse door behind them when they went out? Were they afraid that a hermit crab would break into their rooms and steal their smokes? The Allagash abductions. In August of 1976, 4 men, brothers Jack and Jim Weiner, and their friends Chuck Rack and Charlie Foltz, went on a camping trip for 2 weeks in the Allagash wilderness in Maine. On the second night, Jim noticed a strange bright object in the sky that appeared for about 30 seconds and then vanished. 2 days later on, the men went for an evening fishing trip when the bright object appeared again. This time, the object shot out a bright light, which began following the men. They end up on shore with unclear memories of what they agreed to have been only a 20-minute excursion, only to find that their huge campfire they built to last all night had burnt out. When they were home, the men told their families and friends about the strange sightings, but nobody believed them. Jack and Jim began having strange nightmares about the 4 men sitting on a bench naked in a futuristic Skylab and feeling very fearful. Jim decided to contact UFO researcher Ray Fowler in order to help with the strange nightmares. The 4 men decided to go under hypnosis and described in frightening detail about how they were abducted and then probed by aliens back in 1976. They each took polygraph test and passed. Some people are, of course, skeptical, and who can blame them? It does sound pretty hokey, but the slight possibility of it being real is still scary as shit. And if these dudes are lying, they really stand to gain nothing from it. Being a noted alien rape victim isn't really something to aspire to. The Hampton Court Ghost. The Hampton Court Palace in Greater London is famous for its ghosts, but there's never been any hard evidence, only eyewitness sightings. That is, until 2003, when a ghost dubbed Skeletor popped up on the CCTV. In the early 15th century, Hampton Court was built by Cardinal Wolsey for King Henry VIII and became the king's favorite residence. Probably its most famous ghost is Catherine Howard, Henry VIII's 5th wife. It was at Hampton Court that he was told about Catherine's infidelity. Unlike Anne Boleyn, the first of Henry's wives to lose her head, Catherine is generally considered guilty. Catherine was put under house arrest at Hampton Court but escaped her guards and ran down what's known today as the Haunted Gallery, looking for the king so she could plead for her life. She was dragged screaming back to her room and not long after became the second of his wives to become a head shorter. It's said that visitors have seen Catherine running through the gallery, heard her screaming and experienced eerie feelings. She's often spotted on each anniversary of her house arrest. In 1999, 2 visitors fainted, half an hour apart, on exactly the same spot. On another occasion, a radio interview being conducted in the gallery had to be shut down because all the equipment stopped working. Skeletor is a ghost that has overtaken Catherine's fame in recent years. In winter 2003, palace alarms alerted security staff to the fact that a set of fire doors had been opened. On investigation, they found that the doors were closed again. Confused, the security staff viewed the CCTV footage of the fire doors. They found that the doors had blown open inexplicably 3 times on 3 consecutive days. Reportedly, the security guards have said that there were no actors or tour guides around at that time. Here's a video of the CCTV footage.
This is what a security camera at Hampton Court captured on tape about 3 weeks ago. Is this a ghost?
Right, now what this is the security staff heard an alarm go off, which actually meant that the fire doors were open. They rushed to it and there was nothing there. The doors were closed, actually, when they got there. Now, if we'll go back through this again. On CCTV camera, but not seen by anybody at the naked eye, was this. Can we see it again, please, now? OK.
There are other CCTV cameras around Hampton Court, particularly after that fire. Nobody was seen approaching this particular spot. You don't see the doors actually being pushed open by hand. Figure strides forward and slams them shut. As you can see, and close-ups have shown that it appears to be dressed in medieval clothes, similar to what Henry VIII would have worn. But the key thing is it happened 3 days on the run. That's the only time that a figure actually appeared on the camera, and the other CCTV cameras and witnesses around saw nobody.
My number one mystery on this list was going to be Dyatlov Pass incident. But my fellow YouTuber, Lamino, did a wonderful job in debunking it, so I had to drop it. You can check his video in the description. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more.
Brother, it's caught in the crossfire.